serious business in Week 7. And all these folks here are ready to get down to it. A mega MVL matchup demands our attention, and 2 other conference frontrunners continue their quest for a crown as well. It gets wild this week, and we're here to run it down for you. It's all coming up! Gridiron Glory!
Winding down. Let's enjoy them while they're here. I'm your host, Blake Baker, and co-host Noah Wolf and we get excited for every Friday. I can't wait to see how all our teams finish out, but I don't want the regular season to end.
Blake, we're so excited for the playoffs. I mean, they're right around the corner, just about to start, and I think I speak for everyone in Southeastern Ohio when I say I'm ready for the playoffs.
I agree, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We still need to talk about Week 7, and we start our action tonight with Southern, who traveled to Ravenswood. Connor Mills, man of many talents and conferences, stepped away from his FAC duties to cover this one tonight.
Blake, I'm not the only man with many talents. Trey McNichol followed up last week's 223 yards with another offensive explosion this week. The gates of the underworld have been opened, and the Junior Red Devils lead the way for their varsity team. However, it wouldn't be long until a storm would be brewing. In the opening drive, Gabe Schuler runs up the middle and cuts to the outside to pick up 18 yards on the play. Great field position for Southern, and Brody Dutton puts the Red Devil defense into the spin cycle as he twists his way into the end zone. Tornadoes up early, 7-0. Tornadoes not done yet. Brody Dutton receives a punt, moves to the inside, and breaks away into the middle of the field for a 71-yard touchdown. Tornadoes go for 2, and they get it. Score, 15-0. Ravenswood, backed into a corner in their own stadium, pulls out their bread and butter. Chase Hood sweeps to the far side of the field, and he is gone. 79-yard touchdown, had to show up and show out in front of the home crowd. The Ravenswood defense, they'll step up and force Southern to punt it over, but the ball goes right through his hands and into the hands of the Tornadoes. Southern would not be able to score as they turn the ball over. First interception for Drummer on the season. However, in the second quarter, Logan Drummer, he floats this one up to Schuler for his first touchdown of the day. Tornadoes extend their lead by 15. Southern would get hoodwinked again before the half would end. 22-13 at the half, 35-19 is the final. Southern over Ravenswood.
Sounds like it's an exciting game, especially for their first ever meeting on the gridiron.
All right, these 2 teams should play every year if they're going to be this close and this exciting. A little excitement on the sidelines for our cameraman Chris DeVito as well, as McNichols, he was running hard all game long. McNichols and Schuler along with Button combined for a balanced offensive attack for the Tornadoes.
A good offense in the end, but it was close until the fourth quarter.
Ravenswood excelled in runs to both sides of the field. A sweep to the far side or to the near side created havoc for the Tornadoes. A halftime adjustment allowed Southern to contain the Red Devils' running game and allowed them to win today. As we take a look at this Week 6 computer rankings by the OHSAA, Southern has a spot in the postseason as long as they keep winning. However, they have a couple teams in our coverage area ahead of them. Trimble and Waterford are in 2nd and 7th in Region 27, and Southern, they squeak in at 8. The Tornadoes, they're 2.2 behind Waterford and need to continue to win to control their own destiny. The full rankings have Canal Winchester at 1 with a sizable 1-point lead over Trimble. Tomcats are followed by Lucas, Lancaster Fisher, Sugar Grove, and Franklin Furnace Green. Waterford and Southern round out the bottom. Pressure is on for the Tornadoes, and only time will tell how they hold up.
Yeah, and they do have Waterford and Trimble, 2 of those teams you mentioned, the next 2 weeks. Those will definitely challenge them. Thank you, Connor. Content galore this time of year. And your best place for that content is our website. WOUB.org/gridiron has a recap of every single game our crews attend Friday nights. And at this point, why would you not read? All the games we see have playoff implications, so our coverage is crucial. Keep up with all of it. Again, find us at WOUB.org/gridiron. Trimble is running all over the Hawking this season, but they can't look past Miller. Another dual threat reporter, Rebecca Markovitz, saw her first Hawking game in Corning tonight.
I have to say, Blake, it was pretty nice traveling a little closer this week. I've seen the top teams in the MVL compete, and tonight I got to see why Trimble is sitting pretty at the top of the Hawking. Fans, cheerleaders, and players wore pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it was all about the red and white once the game started. Trimble's first drive of the game, Tabor Lackey avoids Wyatt Vollmer and finds Max Hooper, who jukes out a defender and takes it into the end zone. It is 7-0. Trimble gets the ball again, and it is a 28-yard textbook play-action pass to Sawyer Coons, making it 14-zip. Then 30 seconds into the second quarter, Max Hooper goes untouched. Not a single hand in sight. It's 28-0. Miller gets their first down. Blayton Cox runs the ball 17 yards and gets tripped up. But around 7 plays later, the Falcons fumble the ball and Trimble takes possession. But the Falcons say, not for long, and Rusty Greenidge picks off the pass and takes it all the way to the 27-yard line. Look at that man go. Jumps over a defender. Last minute of the half, guess who it is? Connor Wright. And he runs all along the outside for a touchdown, and the Tomcats win this one 49-0.
And we saw Trimble switch it up just a little bit on offense tonight. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, Tabor Lackey started as quarterback for the first couple drives, and then we saw Cameron Kittle on the receiving end of the ball. The two switched off playing quarterback, and we saw more passing from Trimble than we usually do.
Trimble had 7 penalties in the first half as well. How did that affect their play?
Well, it didn't really affect their play at all. Trimble plays a simple, well-run offense, so they were still able to make up the yards and score. We saw Connor Wright continue to rack up the rushing yards. Wright and Max Hooper had speed, and it took multiple Falcons to tackle these guys.
Yeah, and on the other side, Miller didn't get a first down until the second quarter.
That first down sparked their offensive drive in the first half. Blayton Cox ran just about every play, but they fumbled the ball on the 13-yard line, so turnovers really hurt the Falcons' offense. Cox even threw an interception first play of the second quarter. So, with the conclusion of tonight's game, Trimble is in the driver's seat of the Hocking. We're going to take a look at their remaining schedule. On the 12th, they will play Federal Hocking at home. Then they will travel to Racine to play Southern on the 19th. Southern is currently fighting for a spot in the top 3, so that game could shake up the Tomcats. Then Trimble will wrap up regular season play on the 26th at home against Wahama. This is the second week in a row that we've covered Trimble, and we're going to keep a close eye on the race for the Hocking title during the upcoming weeks.
Sure will. Thank you, Rebecca. Trimble remains undefeated in the Hocking. Athens came into tonight undefeated in the Ohio. Noah and Jacob Murray will recap the Bulldogs' trip to Meigs tonight.
Yeah, Blake, the Athens Bulldogs are first in the conference, looking to roll into the playoffs, while the Meigs Marauders are trying to prove that they can contend. TVC Ohio reporter Jacob Murray was there to witness it all.
Noah, the Bulldogs won a close one a week ago against the team they should have beaten handily. This game was a chance for their offense to click. And Meigs was ready. It was homecoming, and a real-life Marauder was in the building. And on the third play of the game, Coulter Cleveland finds his man Cole Adams for the big completion, and he puts on the burners for the 83-yard touchdown to put Meigs up 7-0. On Athens' next drive, a big run by Evan Adams looks good right here, but then he fumbles the football. Meigs would recover, and they would then take over right here, but then they would be shut down on this acrobatic pick by Logan Maxfield to give the Bulldogs the ball right back. Then later in the drive, Davis would cap it off with a tough touchdown run right here to tie the game at 7-all. Late in the first quarter, Athens blocks this punt, and Peyton Gale recovers for the touchdown. Athens would then go up 14-7. Then here's the backup running back, Nicholas Hawes. He would replace Adams, and he would get it going. A 16-yard touchdown run put them up 21-7. Meigs trying to fight back in the game, and Coulter would dance, and then he would find his man for the huge gain to put them in the red zone. They would score later to go up 21-14, but Athens wouldn't be fazed, as the nice pass from Davis to Maxfield would put the story of the night. Athens would use a big second half from both Hawes and Davis to propel them to a 50-20 win over Meigs.
So the Meigs kept it close in that first half, but then they just couldn't hang with Athens, and they fell to 2-5. What can they improve upon for the rest of the season?
Look, they can use these last few weeks to put together a more consistent offensive game plan. Cleveland made some excellent throws to keep them in it, but the first half, he can't have his defense give up points.
How about Athens? They improved to 6-1, but still room for improvement for them.
Yeah, Davis was not as accurate as you would have liked to see, as he used his legs much more effectively than his arm. And there were some worried looks on the sidelines as their starting running back Evan Adams went out early in the first quarter with a knee injury. Hopefully he will be okay for next week's matchup against the Wellston Rockets, so they can keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, Athens needs to win out and get some help to rack up enough playoff points. Who still stands between Athens and the postseason?
Their schedule to end the year is all within their conference, as they play at home against Wellston, then at home against River Valley. Then the big game to end the year against Nelsonville York will have big stakes for the Bulldogs. If they can win out with the schedule in front of them, they have a good chance at making the playoffs. But with one of the weakest schedules in their division, the computer points might not swing their way if they slip up. The Bulldogs will need to focus to end the year if they want to accomplish their goal of getting into the playoffs.
Sounds like it'll be an exciting last few weeks in the Plains. Thanks, Jacob, for the good work. Hey, speaking of the Plains, that's where our Snap of the Week comes from. Jacob Sayers sent this our way, and it shows those victorious Athens Bulldogs having a little bit of fun, or should I say pun, in the locker room. Evidently, spirits are high in the Plains as they try to make it all the way to Week 11. Jacob, thanks for the snap. Now, we are giving you strictly the highlights in our Extra Points segment tonight, and another reporter is pulling double duty for us. TVC Ohio reporter Ethan Sands saw one game in his conference and another in the FAC.
Noah, it was too much fun, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. It was Wellston's homecoming, and Nelsonville York looked to shake up the party. In Jackson, they had their annual breast cancer game. Let's start with the party weekend in Wellston. The Rockets came out fired up looking to keep the homecoming crowd happy, but Keegan Wilburn wanted to spoil the fun. Wilburn takes the ball, pitched to the right side, hurls a man before being taken down after the 9-yard gain. Mikey Seal then gives it to Wilburn again, and he takes off to the right side and into the end zone for the first score of the game, 7-0 Buckeyes. But Wellston doesn't go away quietly. Nick Davis dukes the defense, taking the ball from the fullback spot and rumbling his way into the end zone, tying the game at 7. On to the next drive. Seal gives a toss to Wilburn, and once he cuts back up the middle, he's all alone and takes the ball 50 yards to the house. But then, Jonathan Garvin shows his toughness and twinkle toes, skipping through the defensive line and carrying 3 men to any extra yards, setting them up with a good spot for their next score, 14 all. But then, the little guy, Brandon Phillips, flexing his muscles and stretching out for the score. Nelsonville York wins this one, 31-20.
But Ethan, we can't forget about the Iron Ladies in pink over at Holzer Field.
My God, they brought the girl power to Jackson tonight. Jared Eisenhower rolls out to his right and hits Garrett Daly for the first down as Daly toe taps on the sideline. Mitchell Johnson powers his way forward and gets to the first down marker while not paying any mind to the 2 defenders on him, but the offense was the only scheme who did their job. Coverage was tough for the Panthers to get by all night. Tyler Taylor tosses up a deep ball to Dalton Mayer, and he couldn't bring it down in double coverage. The Panthers fumbled on the following play, which gives the Ironmen great field position. They then honestly didn't need it. After Jackson fumbles, Johnson takes it up the middle and rolls his way into the 5-yard line, and these Ironmen were just kept on carrying defenders. The next play, Johnson burst through the defenders, leaving literally no trace, as even the camera couldn't keep up with him. He gives the Ironmen 55-0 lead over the Miami Trace Panthers in just the third quarter. Jackson would power their way to the victory, 69-0. Noah, tonight was crazy. Well, anything for you, my man.
Yeah, Ethan, it sounds like you saw a couple nice games. We really appreciate you double dipping for us tonight. Now, we've got a packed show for you tonight. Still to come on Gridiron Glory, Nick Orsini will join us live from Dresden as Sheridan visits Tri-Valley for sole possession of first place in the MVL. Plus, Nate Busilla looks at a great story of an unsung hero in Duncan Falls. But right now, Blake Baker and Will Collins are in the red zone to find out who's for real in the FAC.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. Tonight may have been week 7, but it was only week 2 of FAC League play. FAC reporter Will Collins traveled out to Washington Courthouse to see this year's installment of a growing rivalry between the Blue Lions and the Hillsboro Indians.
Blake, this has been a matchup I have been looking forward to covering all year, and trust me, the Blue Lions have been looking forward to this game after a late 41-34 loss to the Indians last season. Take it to homecoming at Gardner Park, where the Blue Lions are ready to take on week 2 opponent Hillsboro. Early on in the matchup, Gio Thomas gets flushed out of the pocket here, but finds Omar Porter on the fourth play of the game, for a touchdown. It's 8-0 Washington Courthouse after a 2-point conversion. On the ensuing Hillsboro drive, Mark Gallimore takes the ball, heads up the sideline, following Deion Burns, his blocker, on a 43-yard run, which would set up a 24-yard touchdown by Josh Keats, tying the game at 8 with just 2 minutes into the game. Now on the next Courthouse drive, Gio Thomas would again hand the ball off to Jamie McCain, who hits that stiff arm, and another stiff arm on his way to the end zone. That's a 21-yard touchdown, and the Blue Lions would retake the lead 14-8. Later on in the first quarter, Mark Gallimore again takes the handoff, but this time he says, "We'll be seeing you, ladies and gentlemen." He's in the end zone from 44 yards out. It's 16-14 Hillsborough. And later on in the first half, who carries the ball for Hillsborough? None other than Mark Gallimore. He turns on the afterburners, and once again, he is gone. This is a 77-yard score, and the game would be 50-28 at halftime, finishing off 71-50 tonight.
Another high-flying, high-scoring matchup in the FAC. What's up with that?
That's right, Blake. It's all on the defenses, or really the lack thereof of defense. And Courthouse followed every Hillsborough score tonight, right behind them from every snap. Now,
just how quickly were these teams able to score?
Blake, to start the game, it only took 59 seconds for Washington Courthouse to get on the board. And before we saw 2 minutes pass in this game, Hillsborough tied it. Just to give you a picture of how fast the Indians were able to score, on their first 3 plays in this game, they only took up 30 seconds of the clock, but were able to gain 100 yards on the ground and score 16 points.
Now, Hillsborough is known as more of a running team than a passing team, so how were they able to utilize that running game tonight?
Hillsborough used their 3-headed monster of a running game to wear down the Blue Lion defense. Mark Gallimore led the way for the Indians with 215 yards, Deion Burns had 178 yards on the ground, and Josh Keats added 174 for a total of 612 yards on the ground. To wrap up their season, the Indians will travel to Jackson to take on the Ironmen, to Miami Trace to take on the Panthers, and then finish off at home with the McLean Tigers. The toughest test left for Hillsborough comes next week when they take on the 5-2 Ironmen at Alumni Stadium. Through 2 weeks of FAC play, Chillicothe and Jackson are both 2-0, but the Cavs take the top spot this week. Hillsborough gained some ground back with their victory tonight, and both the Indians and Tigers are 1-1 with losses tonight. Both Courthouse and Miami Trace are 0-2 in the conference. It'll be exciting to see how the rest of FAC play shakes out with just 3 weeks to go in the regular season.
Well, you certainly know your FAC facts. Thank you a lot for attending this game tonight. YouTube is a source for all of Gridiron's video content. If you missed anything this season or want to rewatch, say, the highlights of Sheridan Tri-Valley, which is coming up next, you know where to find it. Search WOUB PBS and find Gridiron Glory's playlist. As the games get more intense, our previews and power rankings get even better. Again, WOUB PBS on YouTube and watch away. We've looked forward to Sheridan Tri-Valley for weeks. I can't imagine how ready those fans are tonight. This game's got the hype, the names, the implications, which means we were bound to find our fan of the week out in Dresden.
Castro in to attempt the point after.
Well, appreciate you inviting us in here. What do you got cooking? Show us the works.
Shredded chicken, hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, loaded nachos.
Expect busting some butt out on the field by your Tri-Valley Scotties?
Oh, I hope so.
So this is Barb. And Barb was recommended to me because she's loud. Are you loud? How loud are you?
Loud!
Why are you guys doing the pink tonight?
Well, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can you get you some of this? Can you get you some of this?
Tri-Valley, 21-7.
Yeah?
21-7.
You saw her earlier. Concession stand leader, band mom, and our fan of the week. Yeah! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You were very fun to talk to. I love the energy. I love the energy.
Barbie certainly did bring the energy. Thank you to the whole Tri-Valley community. Felt really embraced out Jack Anderson Stadium, and it was packed. This was an electric atmosphere. I can't wait to see what's in store for next week, but Tri-Valley, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be back at some point to see you this season. All right, no wasting any more time. The Vane event is now. We are not lying when we say this game could go down as our game of the year. The Scotties have secured 8 straight MVL titles, and for the Generals' first since 2010, they need to swing back in this one. This title fight was without a doubt our game of the week. I'll continue to say it. We've been looking forward to this matchup for quite some time, and now it finally went down. And who else will be out there but our MVL reporter, Nick Ursini? He's live from Dresden.
Blake, those of us who love this sport live for nights like this. 1 versus 2, a war on a 100-yard battlefield right here at Jack Anderson Stadium. There was not an empty seat tonight. Fans, young and old, they were ready for an instant classic. Second Scotty's possession, Luke Fargus rolls out to his left, but his pass is deflected and intercepted by Cole Casto, setting up the Generals deep in Scotty's territory. Now take a look at this next play, people. Do not blink. Heller rolls out. He's not going to be able to find anyone, so he takes it himself all around the field, and he is in for 6. What a play. 7-0 Generals midway through the first. Ensuing Scotty's possession. An unbelievable grab by Rob Watcher. He pops back up and says, let's get 6. On 4th and 14, Fritter says, I'm putting this team on my back. Avoids multiple Sheridan defenders, and he is in. What a play from the sophomore. Tie game, less than 2 minutes left in the first. Tri-Valley tacks on a field goal, 10-7 at half. Fast forward in third quarter, Heller connects with Jacob Rose from 27 yards out. The P18 was blocked, so the game remains tied at 13. And with less than a minute to go, all 3 timeouts left. Fritter leads his team down, setting up a Caden Bay 31-yard field goal and the kick wide left. Bring on overtime. Sheridan's ball to start. Rhodes takes a jet sweep, gets a block, 1 man in this, but he gets tackled. Heller finishes the drive, but once again the P18 is blocked. Game on the line. Fritter throws a dime. Next play, Blake Sands into the end zone, untouched. Only fitting it comes down, so he keeps a win. Bay with the redemption, 20-19. Scotty's win. Look at this place, Blake. Unbelievable atmosphere here in Dresden.
It really was. This game of the week did not disappoint. Like I said, it could have been a game of the year. That place was crazy. No seats in the house. People lined up on a barbed wire fence just to get in.
Yeah, Blake, it was homecoming here tonight. So I caught up with an alum who is very familiar with playing under these bright lights, former quarterback Andrew Newsom.
I mean, I had to pay to get in here. I didn't know what the price was to get in, so it's a little odd, but it's different. It's a lot different, and I definitely missed the grind. It was weird coming down here, and it's weird being here on a Friday after not having a whole week of practice and things. It's just different.
Blake, it was great to catch up with Newsom, but it was even better to catch up with head coach Kevin Fell after the conclusion of this crazy game.
That was probably one of the most unusual football games you'd ever want to see. We didn't play well offensively at times, and at times we played really well. Defensively, I think we played pretty well all night. The defense kept us alive. We held an awful good football player in check tonight.
Like, this game could go down as one of the greatest in our coverage this year. But one thing remains certain. The Tri-Valley Scotties reminded everybody that they are still the top dogs.
Does not get much better than that, man. Thank you for staying there, enjoying that thriller. I know you enjoyed it. You've been looking forward to that one. Get home safe tonight, Nick. And now it's time for another story. To tell it, I turn to brand journalist Nate Busella, who's been telling some amazing stories for us recently.
Blake, every team has got to stay hydrated. Someone designated to get the players that refreshing water to keep them going. But what every team doesn't have is a hydration specialist.
Introducing Maggie Wright.
They call me hydration specialist. I do the water and help out in the athletic training room, and I started when I was 9 years old.
A willingness to do whatever was needed, which at that time and pretty much was haul some water around.
8 years into the job, she has the basics of hydration down and is adapted to the needs of the players.
There are nerve sensors in the back of your throat, and when the vinegar hits it, we use vinegar or pickle juice. Then it releases cramps, but it also prevents the muscles from getting to that cramping point. Week 1, we ended up losing in the last few seconds. So I was like, well, our quarterback was out, and it was because he cramped, and it was because I forgot the vinegar. And
athletic trainer Tim Berger noticed how quickly Maggie picked up opportunities to help the team.
He'd teach me one tape job at a time on his feet. Some other way I could make things go more efficiently because we could get guys out to practice faster. Good. I'll have it out here if you need more.
It's pretty much her show when it comes to the hydration of our players. You know, that role has certainly expanded over the years into more of an athletic training and equipment standpoint.
And with that expanded role, she's always knocking on Coach's door.
Got to make the play. Really anything she can contribute to help our team, whether it's making me aware of the temperature and how we need to adjust our practice time or water breaks or the amount of equipment that we wear.
I feel like our relationship is at that point where he respects me and I respect him, and so anything I can just ask him, I feel comfortable doing that.
She just always had that little bit of a mothering instinct to her around other kids, and she's got that management quality about her. Where
I do feel like I help out with the freshmen some. I mean, over the years I've definitely noticed how different it is for them coming into a program like this and being a part of that, and how much of a change it is.
Interested in pursuing a career in sports medicine, Coach Wright and Coach Lincecum have high praise for what she's done at Philo.
I'm proud that she has grown into the role that she has with our team and the person that she is becoming.
Probably given up a lot of the teenage opportunities that a lot of these other kids have in order to be really an extension of our coaching staff and our athletic training staff.
He's got so much height on me. What am I supposed to do?
Hey, your pad level's supposed to be low and you're halfway there already.
She's going to have a great life ahead of her, whatever she chooses to do.
So if you're headed on out to Philo for some football, make sure you keep an eye out for the hydration specialist.
Blake, including their win tonight, Maggie's been a part of every single one of Philo's 84 games since 2011. Wow. And she's been contributing any way her hydration specialist duties allow her to. Now, you folks at home, make sure to be on the lookout for the extended version of this story. And man, Blake, let me tell you, it was incredible meeting her, and the hospitality she showed our crew. It was just wonderful, man.
It just relates to the hospitality she shows all those guys out and all the Electrics football players out there. They're better for her. They're better with her on the sideline. Nate, it was surprising to hear your voice in that story. I loved it.
You had to throw it out there for the people, man. Just give them a little taste of something else what we're about here.
I love it. I'm looking forward to what you and the rest of the documentary team can put together throughout the rest of the season, Nate. Thank you very much. This week's games were big, and big-time games reveal big-time players, and you know the saying. Big-time players make big-time plays. We saw 3 tonight. Here's tonight's edition of the top plays. For number 3, taking you out to Corning for a little hockey battle between Trimble and Miller. Cam Kittle's on the run, stops his feet and chucks this one over the middle, but it's Rusty Greenish swooping in just like a falcon, get it? And he's taking it the other way for his defense. Number 2, a little deja vu of our number 1 play from last week. Gio Thomas with the arm, Omar Porter, beautiful, back shoulder catch, 24 yards out, just 4 plays into the game, we got a touchdown. But number 1 was Jonathan Garvin's kickoff return, no doubt. Down the left sideline, I can't even tell you how many tackles he's breaking. All 22 guys in the frame there, and we speed it up because he goes 90 yards. It did get called back for a holding, but I'll tell you what, a top play is a top play. Now, after tonight's games, we got a bunch of these teams in our coverage area that are projected playoff teams.
Yeah, every game that we cover at this point has playoff implications, and here's the playoff implication games that we'll see next week. We'll see all 5 teams located in this county as a part of our Athens County Blitz segment. Alexander and NY, Wellston and Athens, Federal, Hocking, and Trimble will have all 3 of those games. And for good measure, a TVC Ohio matchup between Vinton County and River Valley.
2 teams with the best outside shot to win the Hocking, Southern and Waterford, they meet in Week 8. The Wildcats own the last 4 matchups with the Tornadoes. And the top 2 in the FAC will appear on our show as well. Both look to remain undefeated in the league when Chillicothe gets Miami Trace and Jackson hosts Hillsboro.
Tri-Valley is riding high after tonight, and the Scotties traveled to John Glenn, who they've beaten 11 straight times. And rounding out the MVL and our coverage for Week 8 of Gridiron Glory, we'll see Philo hit the road for Maysville.
Okay, so Tri-Valley now sits top the MVL alone. Trimble still leads the Hocking. Athens undefeated in the TVC Ohio. And NY, don't forget them. And Chillicothe and Jackson still undefeated in the FAC. So we got a lot of crazy stuff going on. You're going to have to tune in next week to see these tight races take place. That's all we got from studio. Until next week, remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.